Are you getting ready to invest but don't know how much risk you should take? By the end of this course, you should be able to answer that question. Also, stick around as I'm going to share one of the biggest mistakes I've seen when it comes to investing, as well as provide you with a free tool to help you unlock your personalized investment roadmap. Let's get started. Hi, I'm 𝐷𝐸𝐞𝐞, the CEO of Lake Avenue Financial and your guide to help you build and preserve your wealth. In this course, we'll be discussing the 4 main items you should consider when trying to figure out how risky you want to be when investing. I'm going to show you how risk tolerance can help you figure out how much risk to take. Then I'll discuss time horizon and associating your investments with your financial goals. I'm also going to share how understanding your investment objective can act as a roadmap for your investing decisions. And lastly, I'll let you know how liquidity needs play a key role in how risky you want to be with your money. We all know that there's a major difference in risk when putting money in your simple savings account at the bank compared to purchasing shares of an aggressive stock like a tech startup. It's safe to assume that there's minimal risk in your savings account at the bank, and for that reason, your account usually doesn't gain much interest. But you also don't really worry about losing money either. With the aggressive stock, you should expect a lot more risk, which can mean that your investment can have a lot of upside. But that can also mean that you may lose your total investment in the stock. The riskier the investment, the greater the volatility you should expect. Anticipate a lot of ups and downs like a roller coaster. So if we set up a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 has the least amount of risk and 10 has the most amount of risk, we can place the savings account closer to a 1. We can also probably place the aggressive stock closer to a 10. This helps you visualize that there are many investments between a 1 and a 10. So as you go up higher on the scale, your risk and reward should go up as well. Figure out where you're comfortable on that scale and invest accordingly. You might think that you're at 8 or a 9 only to realize that you can't stomach the ups and downs of your investment. It's best to figure out your risk tolerance so you can stick with your game plan. When deciding on how risky you want to be with your investments, how long you want to invest plays a key role. There's a major difference between investing for the short term, like 3 years or less, as opposed to the long term of 30 years. Investing just to invest can be a disaster. It's important to associate your investments or accounts towards a specific goal. For example, if you're saving towards a down payment on your first house, which is a goal that is, let's say, 5 years out, you may not want to be as aggressive with these funds. 5 years is not a very long time, and you want to make sure that you don't put your funds in a volatile investment that could possibly lose a big chunk of your down payment, and thus push your goal of owning a home out further. In this scenario, it would be prudent to invest in a manner that you're comfortable with given the shorter time horizon. Now, on the flip side, let's say you're a young investor that is saving towards financial independence, which is 30 years away. You opened up an IRA, a Roth IRA, or possibly saving in your company's 401k plan. These types of accounts are earmarked towards a long-term goal of retirement, which is, in this example, 30 years out. This means you can take advantage of compounding interest. Let me take a moment to explain compounding interest. It is the interest based on your initial investment, as well as the accumulated interest since you started your investment. Basically, you're getting interest on your interest. So in this example, time is on your side, so you might be able to afford taking on more risk. Also, it's a good reminder that just because you reach your retirement age doesn't mean that you don't want your account to keep growing. You may want to lower the risk, but realize that you may need these funds to last another 20 to 30 years after you officially retire. So if you are in your 20s and 30s, you need to keep in mind that your investment time horizon towards a retirement goal can be 50 to 60 years away. Once you've figured out your time horizon, it's easier to know how much risk you should take with a particular investment or account. The investment objective is just a fancy term used in the financial industry, but it's no different than figuring out what is your desired outcome or goal when investing. Your investment objective can vary and will typically fall in one of the following 8 options. Starting with the least riskiest option, capital preservation is meant for investors that are the most conservative and are looking for minimal risk of losing their money. This usually results in lower potential income and overall return on your investment. Items such as bank, savings accounts, and money markets would fall in this category. This works for short-term financial goals or an emergency fund. Next is income, which is just a step above preservation. Here, the goal is to be on the safer side while providing more fixed income investments. Here, you will typically see a mix of 80% bonds and 20% in stocks. After that, your next investment option is conservative, which is meant for investors that still prefer taking on less risk but are open to having some growth on their money. In this category, you might see an account with a mix of mostly bonds and maybe a small allocation to stocks. Then we find the moderate portfolio, which is taking on a bit more risk and has a 40-60 mix of stocks and bonds. Next is the balanced objective. This is the midway point on the risk spectrum, and usually you will see an account with an even mix of stocks and bonds. This is a pretty balanced approach, as the name suggests, which can help with the market volatility. As we go up higher on the risk ladder, our next option is growth with income. Here, the emphasis for the investment is placed on some modest growth with the focus on generating income as well. This category can be useful for those midterm financial goals that are 5 to 10 years out. Next up is growth. In this category, your goal is to achieve high long-term growth on your money. There is usually very little focus on generating any income. The typical mix would be 70 to 80% in stocks and maybe a small allocation to bonds. Last on the risk spectrum is aggressive growth. Here, the emphasis is on maximum capital appreciation. Keep in mind that this objective has a very high level of risk and is best suited for investors with a longer time horizon. So you'll typically see a portfolio made up completely of stocks. This may be appropriate for long-term goals that are 20 years out. You'll realize that a key theme when figuring out the level of risk to take is to have a financial goal when investing. This will act as a roadmap for your decisions and help towards the path that's right for you. If you've ever heard a financial advisor talk about liquidity needs, they are basically trying to find out when you'll need access to your money. Depending on the financial goal you are working on, you might need access to your funds in the short term, let's say 3 years. Or you might be working on a long-term goal and not need access to this money for another 20+ years. Requiring access or liquidity to your money should play a key role in how risky you want to invest. In our example, where you are anticipating needing access to your money in 3 years, it would be prudent to be more conservative with this type of investment. Whether you are saving for an emergency fund, a major family vacation, a special anniversary, or another short-term goal, it's important to keep in mind that we can't predict the ups and downs of the stock market, so it might be best to err on the side of a more conservative investment. The last thing you want is to have an emergency. Go to access the money you saved in your emergency fund and realize that half of your account balance has disappeared. Now, if you aren't anticipating the need to make withdrawals anytime soon, then you can be more confident in taking on more risk in your portfolio. If you don't plan on making withdrawals from your retirement account for the next 20 years, or let's say you have an investment account that you plan on leaving to the next generation, you can afford to take on more risk. As you get closer to needing access to those funds, it might be a good time to reassess the risks in your portfolio. Possibly switch to some investments that are producing the income you might need access to. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen investors make is not having a financial goal in mind before they start to invest. They just open up an investment account with no game plan. Just saying that you want to make more money is a recipe for disaster. By now, you hopefully realize that having a financial goal when investing will help you figure out the level of risk that's appropriate. This will help clarify when and how you will need access to the money you are investing. When you're looking to answer the question, how much risk should I take when investing? The right formula is a mix of risk tolerance, time horizon, investment objectives, and liquidity needs. By taking these 4 components into consideration, you'll be ready to assess the right level of risk that's right for you. Now that you've had a chance to complete the course, I recommend that you utilize a simple assessment I designed to help investors understand their risk tolerance and provide instant actionable steps on which portfolio mix is right for them. It takes about 3 minutes, is completely free, and you'll receive a personalized report instantly. You can find the link in the show notes or head over to this QR code. Regardless of the investments you select, following smart investment strategies is an important step towards pursuing your long-term goals. At the Academy, we love helping people just like you develop and implement sound investment strategies and create a blueprint to help them reach their financial goals. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them below. I would love to get your feedback. Thanks for watching.